Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our very last session for Your Body and Food. I'm Stacey. I'm glad you found the room. It's a little cozier today. And Brittany obviously brought us some samples. She'll be talking about what you're eating here in just a few minutes. This is the last of a three-part series. And this one is really the practical application of what she's been talking about, kind of, what I said in my email, like looking at what are the staples you should have in your refrigerator and how to navigate the grocery aisle and all of that good stuff. So we're really excited to wrap this up. I want to also let you know that we'll be doing a very similar series in the spring. I think starting on Mondays, we think? Yes. Starting January 28th. For 3 Mondays in a row, we'll be doing one that's focused more on weight management. Okay? And we're going to hopefully record those as well and provide them to people who may not be at work on Monday. And we'll be live how we're working. So you've got several things at your seat. You've got a couple of handouts. Arlene is in charge of the Produce at Work program. And so if you have questions, she's the one. So if you want any great produce delivered at work from a real farmer, how cool is that? Not Arlene. She's not farming on the side. Not that I know of. She does a lot. She is a mom, and moms can do it all. So she's the one to talk to you about. There's a couple of handouts about that program. We have good participation, so we'd love to invite more people to join us. Then we also have this blue handout that I just found called from Nutrition Action. So this is, Brittany's not really going to be talking to this piece today, but this is just some information for you guys. I found it was really excellent information on grains and fruits and vegetables, so take a look at that later on. And then, of course, you have the PDF of your presentation. I'm going to step out of the way and let Brittany go forward. She's got a lot of slides today, so maybe if you can hold some of your questions to the end, but if you just have a burning one, you could raise your hand, but we're trying to get through as much as possible.
Okay, so what I brought for you guys is a homemade hummus recipe that I made in my little magic bullet, and I'll be sending the ingredients and recipes to Gina so she can give them to you guys. But the other one is one of my favorites personally for late night. I kind of need something else to fill up because that is in fact fat-free sour cream with some ranch mixed in and some sriracha, and so it's 35 calories for 2 tablespoons. So you can have like a whole little bag of mini carrots and big old dollop of daisies, actually 2 dollops, for like 70 calories. So it's a good way to get some extra munching late at night when you're rather instead of going to like potato chips or something a little bit higher calories. This hummus is also a low oil hummus, so it's 1.5 ounces for 80 calories, which is a pretty good calorie level for hummus. You can get some of the oilier ones that run you like 200 calories for a tablespoon. So making your own and knowing how much oil is actually getting put in it is a good way to do that. It's also a good way to get all your fresh vegetables. And if you notice, these are all cut up ready to go. One of the things I recommend is when you get home from the grocery store, you go ahead and cut all your vegetables and have them easy access. Because if it's 9 o'clock at night and you're like, oh, you need a snack, but I really don't feel like cutting and washing and da-da-da-da-da, so then you forego the vegetable snack and go to the potato chip snack, you've already set up a barrier for yourself. And it literally took me to cut all of those up 15 minutes, not even. So get home, chop them up, put them in Tupperwares, clear Tupperwares where you can see them, and that'll make it easier for you to get in there and eat your vegetables. All right, well, let's go. It's not doing it again. It came out of presentation mode.
I don't know why it keeps doing that.
I don't know either.
Wait, maybe now?
Got it. I don't know what. Good job.
Again, myself. All right, so one of the things you can do to set yourself up for success is build out some staples in your pantry and your freezer, right? Things that have a long shelf life that you just always keep stocked. Because Lord knows one of the reasons that people don't eat healthy is because I am unprepared, right? I get home, there's nothing defrosted, there's no plan for what I'm going to prepare, I'm tired, I've had a long day, I don't want to go to the grocery store and get something, I definitely don't want to slave in front of the stove for 45 minutes. So have some quick and easy staples. For example, one of the staples in my house is I always have turkey kielbasa in my freezer. It defrosts instantaneously, it's already cooked, and I can throw it into some rice and beans for some type of a jambalaya or something like that in under 15 minutes. And so that's a really easy go-to for us. I also always have beans and rice in my freezer or in my pantry, because then I can just take some frozen chicken or frozen whatever and throw it with some beans and rice, and I have a nutritious meal. So look at some of the go-tos in your family that you like and that your children like or your spouse likes or whatever, and keep it stocked. Always have it on your grocery list, because it's something that even if you have double of what you need, at some point you'll come across it and you don't want to be running low, okay? Have multiple ingredients that you can always add quickly to increase nutritional value. So things like frozen vegetables. We always have frozen broccoli, frozen carrots, frozen corn, whatever, because I can pop them in the microwave in 5 minutes, boom, they're on the table, that's added nutritional value. You can also add these to like frozen dinners. If you think of a lean cuisine and it's got a sauce to it, they often are really low in vegetables. That sauce is enough to coat another handful of broccoli. Go ahead and throw another handful of broccoli in there and increase the nutritional value of that frozen dinner. So some of the staples that I like to keep on my list are going to be your frozen veggies, like I said, boil and bag brown rice. This is something that is ready in 5 minutes. It has a lot of fiber. It is not expensive, so it's something that adds a lot of nutritional value, adds a lot of bulk to the meal without adding a lot to my budget or to my waistline. I always have lean ground meat on hand, ground chicken, ground turkey, or 90-10 lean beef. So even if I don't know what I'm going to cook tomorrow, I can throw a frozen lean beef or whatever in the fridge. It'll be defrosted for tomorrow, and I can come up with something that I want to put it in, whatever sounds good. I always have canned beans to get rid of the salt. We just give them a quick rinse, and it will take away about 3/4 of the salt that is put in the canning process. I buy seasonal fruit. Didn't you give them a thing that says, or some of you won the book that has the seasonal fruit and vegetable, so purchasing what's in season, 1, saves you a lot of money, and 2, helps you to get more fruits and vegetables to just constantly keep them stocked. I always have eggs. Breakfast for dinner is a really quick, easy, that works, right? Fry up some eggs, cook up some turkey bacon, have a little bit of hash browns or something with it. We've got a nice balance there, especially if I throw some spinach and mushrooms or whatever in with my eggs. Okay? And I always have some low-fat dairy. If I'm not quite satisfied, I'm going to have a yogurt cup for dessert. I'm not going to go for a piece of cake or a pint of ice cream, right? Plan your grocery shopping. This is a big one. You need to have scheduled grocery shopping trips, because it's very easy to get, oh my gosh, it's been 2 weeks since I've been to the grocery store, I've burned through all the food I have, and so now I'm stuck going fast food. Okay? You need to look at your calendar on Sunday or on Saturday and say, okay, Tuesday night after my aerobics class, I'm going straight to H-E-B because that's when I have a window to get my grocery shopping done. Or Sundays after church is the perfect time for me to get it. Whatever it is, just like your exercise where you want to plan when you're going to do that and put it on your calendar, you need to do the same for grocery shopping. This is something that a lot of people don't have a habit of, and therefore they get caught, again, unprepared because they didn't get to the grocery store and get what they need. Make sure you make a list. Having a list when you go really helps you to stay focused and not buy a bunch of random stuff and then forget, oh, well, now I can't make spaghetti because I forgot to pick up marinara sauce or whatever. Okay, so making sure you have a list, checking your pantry when you're making a list, and not just kind of going off the top of your head, but actually looking at what you still have and what you need, and making sure that you're prepared that way. Make sure you eat before you go. We have actually studies that show people tend to buy at 25% more than what they intended to when they go hungry. And then you get stuck in the pickle of when you get home, you want to eat everything you bought. And so you're like, I'm going to have a bowl of that cereal, and I'm going to have a piece of that bread, and I'm and you way over-consume. Not to mention if they're giving out samples, think how many calories you're picking up from all those samples, if you're starving, right? It adds up, okay? So make sure you do not grocery shop hungry. Have a Cliff Bar or something in your purse that you can have. You need to know your grocery store. A lot of people don't think about the grocery store as a business. We often will tell people, and I'm sure all of y'all have heard this, this is not new information, shop the perimeter. That's where you're going to have the most whole foods. That's where the produce is, that's where the meats are, that's where the dairy and the low-fat dairy is. That's where you want to be. Only go down aisles if it is on your list. When you shop without purpose, you tend to get sucked into buying a lot of these higher calorie things. In addition, don't look at end caps, okay? End caps are prime real estate in the grocery store, and it's where they make the most money. Grocery stores tend to lose money on the perimeter. They make their money on the interior, because this is where the shelf-stable, non-nutritive, calorie-dense foods are, so they can buy a bunch of them at really low cost, keep them stocked, and jack up the premium, okay? So chips, etc. Those types of things are what will be on the end cap. Look at it next time you go grocery shopping. It's going to be alcohol, or it's going to be shelf-stable products that they have a really big price margin on. Henry E. Butts is not living in some shack, okay? He's got a mansion, if not 5, because he is really good at his business. I have had a lot of clients tell me that the online shopping has saved them immensely, because now they don't get distracted by shiny whatever and buying a bunch of stuff. So you have a list, you very clearly put that list together, you drive up, they give it to you, you don't have to go in the store and be exposed to any of those temptations. So if that's something that might appeal to you, I would recommend it. I've heard really good things. All right. When you are shopping the grocery store, again, never shop hungry. Have your list. Only go down internal items for things. Go down internal aisles for items on your list, and read your labels. One of the things people don't realize is that food companies have put billions of dollars into marketing. Every year, on average, Nestle puts around $1.3 billion into marketing their different food products. You know how much the USDA got to put together a marketing campaign for fruits and vegetables? About $6 million for 5 years.
Oh my gosh.
No wonder kids eat Fruity Pebbles and not fruit, okay? So make sure that you're reading your labels, because something that appears healthy may in fact not be healthy. A perfect example of that, Nutri-Grain bars, right? That looks healthy, it's nutritious, it's grains, it's in a green box or a blue box, which makes me think this has got to be good. It has fruit. One of its first ingredients is sugar. Like, it's really just oats and sugar, and that's not the most nutritional value that you can get out of something. So make sure you're reading your labels and remembering, again, that it is a business. So here we are. Coca-Cola spent $3.3 billion in advertising in 2014. Nestle spent 3.1. Approximately $2 million was spent to develop and advertise the My Plate campaign. That's the development and the advertising of it. So you can imagine that doesn't go very far, especially when a 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl goes for several $1 million, right? It's estimated that an average $10 billion per year is spent on food and beverage advertising, less than 5% on nutritious foods such as low-fat dairy or juice. So we don't have any advertising budget for vegetables. This is what they're looking at, and this is what their billions of dollars has gone into, is identifying what colors create what feelings within someone so that they are more likely to buy that product. Red is the best at selling, and if you think about the 3 biggest for-profit companies out there in the food and whatever industry, Marlboro, red. Budweiser, red. Coca-Cola, red. And they're all 3 not good for you. But they sell a lot of products because they know I am more likely to purchase that way, okay? They also look into what feelings women are most likely to gravitate towards versus men. Men tend to prefer the red, the blue, and the blacks, right? So think about like Gillette and a lot of those companies that cater right to men, where women tend to want more of the greens and the yellows, and children tend to want more of the oranges. And so if you think about what they're trying to sell you and looking at the packaging and realizing, they really are trying to manipulate us, okay, and thinking that what we're doing is the right thing. And it's very funny as well that thinking about where things are located, because again, it's prime real estate. Middle aisle, fourth shelf. Why is the middle of the aisle, fourth shelf, the best place for food, for product placement? Eye level for who? Eye level for women. If I am placing a male-focused product, where is prime real estate for that? So like razor blades or shave gel or beer. A little higher, so fifth shelf. Where in the aisle?
Beginning.
Yeah, as close to the end as possible, because women shop, not all women, but this is for the most part, and I know a bunch of you in here are going to be like, yep, that's me. We shop like this, like, oh, okay. Do I want that cracker? I'm not sure. Which cracker I'm going to get those. Right? How do men shop?
Grab it and run.
I want to be here. Of course, they're going to put what the men want on the end and what the women want on the middle, because we like to peruse and look at our options and weigh our pros and cons. My grocery shopping trip is going to take twice as long as my husband's, which is why when I sent him and we are having a dinner party and I am serving lettuce wraps and realize my head of lettuce is bad, and I sent him to the store to get a head of lettuce, and you know what he comes home with? Cabbage. Because he didn't take the time to look at what he was doing. He ran in, grabbed the first green thing he could that resembled lettuce, and he ran out. It's just the way we work, right? So recognizing that they are marketing to you, they are trying to manipulate what you're purchasing, read your labels. It's the best advice I have. Here is your standard food label. Recognize that we have the serving size as well as the servings per container. They had to add that because people were drinking giant Gatorades and thinking that they were drinking 80 calories because it was 80 calories per serving, not realizing that it was 80 calories per 8 ounces, and that is a 24-ounce Gatorade. So you are not getting 80 calories there. You're getting more like 320 or something like that, okay? So they added that. Make sure you understand how many calories, how much nutrition am I getting for the actual volume of what it is. So they will manipulate serving sizes in order to be able to market it, and we'll talk about that in a second, as like calorie-free or fat-free or sugar-free, etc. Because if you think about it, like spray butter or spray oil, okay? It says it's 0 calories per serving. That doesn't mean you can take the lid off and dump it all over and you're not getting any calories. Look at the serving size. The serving size is 1/3 of a second spray, which means if I did a 5-second spray, I might actually be getting 5 or 10 calories in that. I don't know. But I guarantee you, there are calories there. They've just manipulated the serving size to be able to market the way they want. Okay? When you look at the total fat, the saturated and the trans are the ones that we're trying to stay away from. So you can assume whatever difference between total, saturated, and trans is all good fat. So if you're trying to eat more heart healthy, trying to get more mono and polyunsaturated fats in your diet, you're going to look at the total fat, subtract saturated and trans, and be like, oh wow, there's 9 grams of good fat in this product. This is probably good for my heart. I like that. Okay? Cholesterol, again, it's less than 300 for the day. So if you look at that and you see 500 milligrams of cholesterol, probably not the most heart-healthy food. Might want to stay away from that one. Sodium recommendations are around 2,500 milligrams per day. So if you look at it, and so for example, ramen noodles, I think has about 1,400 milligrams per serving. That's probably not the best food either. We might want to stay away from that one. Your total carbohydrate and your sugars are also things that can be a little concerning. As a diabetic, remember, we don't want to eat more than like 30 to 45 grams of carbohydrate at a meal. So I'm going to be checking into that total, okay? Sugar, it was proposed and approved but has not been forced to implementation that we actually have a third one of added sugar. Because if you're just looking at sugar, Frosted Flakes and Special K red berries have the same amount of sugar in them, right? But they're not nutritionally equivalent because Frosted Flakes is all table sugar on flakes, right? Where Special K Red Berry is no added sugar, it's all dried strawberries is where you're getting your sugar from. So you're going to want to look at your ingredients list to see where sugar falls in it, to see how much of that is actually coming from table sugar, which is not that good for you, versus fruit sugar, which is. Some products have already started adding the added sugar portion, but not all at this point. And then the vitamins and stuff that you see down at the bottom, those are all there because they tend to be the ones that we're most deficient in, iron specifically. But looking at that for iron and calcium intake, especially if you are vegan, vegetarian, or you don't do dairy, okay? So what do all these labels mean? What does it mean if I see something that says low fat or low cholesterol or whatever? This is your definition. Something that's calorie-free has less than 5 calories per serving. That means it can have 4.9, and it still can be labeled as calorie-free. Okay, and in the food label, it'll say total calories per serving, 0, because it's labeled as a calorie-free product. So again, like your spray butter and stuff, you're probably getting more than you think, okay? The same thing for like fat-free, it's less than half a gram. Sugar-free is less than half a gram. But notice, low sugar, there's no FDA definition to that. So I could literally make a vat of Kool-Aid and call it low sugar, and no one's going to stop me from labeling it that. Okay? You also don't have a definition, and we'll look at this one on the next slide, I believe, but for made with real fruit, there's no proportion of the food that has to be made with real fruit. So if I'm trying to buy something and it's like, no added sugar, low sugar, made with real fruit, again, this could be a big vat of Kool-Aid where I dropped a strawberry into it, and the rest is just sugar and dyes, and I can claim that it's made with real fruit. Okay? One of the things to be careful with as well, which I think we've talked a little bit about this, but the unsweetened, no added sugar, natural things do not pertain to sugar alcohols. So I can say I didn't add any sugar to this, but I put some sugar alcohol in it, and I can still have that label. So you may not be getting what you think you're getting. Reduced anything is a 25% reduction versus their flagship product. So like Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its have their original Cheez-It, and then they have reduced fat Cheez-Its, which means they have 25% less fat than the original. Has nothing to do with how much sugar's in there. They might be adding sugar back in to mask the loss of the fat flavor. So you're going to want to compare the ingredients labels, okay? You also don't have to have a flagship product. So for example, cream cheese. Reduced fat cream cheese, their comparison is butter. 25% less fat than butter. That is not a fair comparison in my world. Those are not the same thing. So be careful what you are looking at and read the fine print. When they say it's made with whole wheat or it is a whole grain, the only way you know you are getting a non-processed grain is if you either look at the ingredients list and the first ingredient is whole wheat flour, or it says 100% whole grain. If it has that 100% on there, they cannot process the wheat. Otherwise, you will see things like enriched wheat flour, which means they processed it and then they added back in everything that they lost during the processing. That's why you have white wheat bread. You don't have white wheat bread that has not been processed. That's impossible, okay? So they're adding it back in, which kind of can be misleading. We talked about made with real fruit. Be aware that a lot of foods tend to market things that have always been that way. So for example, rice Chex, right? Rice is a gluten-free food. Rice Chex has always been gluten-free. But now that gluten-free is really popular, they put a big banner on Rice Chex that says, gluten-free! Like, oh, this is new, they must have changed it. No, they didn't change it, it's always been that way. You know, going by the H-E-B counter, by their meat counter during the Atkins craze, and they were like, all our meats have 0 net carbs. Everybody's meat has 0 net carbs. What are you talking about? Like this is, but whatever is sexy in the media, we're going to put it out there to try and sell more of our product, okay? Any food or supplement, especially in the supplement world, can claim they may do something. It may promote weight loss, and I love the ones that have the disclaimer with diet and exercise. So, you think this might cause weight loss if I diet and exercise too? It may help with your bone loss. It may help with whatever. The FDA does not care as long as they put that keyword may. I can literally fart in a can, and tell you sniff before eating, it may help you eat less. And sell that on the shelf, man, there you go. Millionaire overnight. So just be aware, direct claims cannot be made like this prevents cancer. They can't say that, but they can say it might. Ooh, I better eat that, it might prevent cancer. Anything might do something, give me a break, okay? When you're looking at your ingredients list, knowing that the first ingredients are gonna have the highest percentage by volume, and so on down. So if you wanna know how much sugar is in this, obviously, this product has a lot of sugar. It's the second ingredient, which means the percentage of it by volume is a lot, okay? If it's the 10th ingredient, then it probably doesn't have a lot of sugar in it. You also want to look for things that they're disguising. So, for example, how many of you have heard of high fructose corn syrup? How many of you have heard that it's probably not the best thing for you to be eating? So now we're all aware of it. We all start looking for it. I want non-high fructose corn syrup. I don't know why it's bad, but I know it's bad and I'm not going to eat it. So food manufacturers, because high fructose corn syrup helps them save a lot of money in their food, they decided to disguise it and they turned it into an acronym. So you can see high fructose corn syrup in an ingredients list, or you can see HFCS, because not everybody is cool with the acronym world. But of course, texting has become big, so all the kids figured it out. Now, they changed it again, and it's called corn sugar. So if you see corn sugar in an ingredients list, there's high fructose corn syrup in that product. And it can market itself as high fructose corn syrup free if it's less than half a gram per serving. So you need to look at not just the label, but the ingredients as well. Same thing if you're looking for no artificial sweeteners, because sugar alcohols are an artificial sweetener, but they fall under the natural label by the FDA, so they can put them in foods and they're not on the label. So when you look, you're going to look for things like this: sorbitol, mannitol, xylitol. If you see that in the ingredients list, there is sugar alcohol in that food. You also want to look for hydrogenated, because your hydrogenated is trans fat. And again, if it's less than half a gram per serving, they can market it as trans fat free. And the nutrition facts will say trans fat, 0 grams per serving. But then you look here and, oh, there's that partially hydrogenated. If it's partially, if it's fully, if it's any type of hydrogenation, there's trans fat in that product. So be smart, read your labels, okay? When you're planning your meals, consider planning multiple meals that utilize similar ingredients. So I have a lot of people that will do like a Sunday meal prep, and they bake 15 chicken breasts. And you know what? On Monday, we're going to have chicken fajitas. On Tuesday, we're going to have grilled chicken and rice and whatever. On Wednesday, I'm going to make a chicken soup. Whatever. It's all the protein is done. That saves a lot of time, because during the week cooking tends to be when we are most just like, oh, I want it done. So if you have something already done, it makes it easier to actually stick to the meal plan you're trying to do. Balanced meal has a good quality protein accompanied by a good healthy starch, a healthy fat, and fruits and vegetables. Again, try to make half your plate fruits and veggies, and then a quarter of it starch and a quarter of it protein. Does not have to be an animal protein. It can be a non-animal protein. Recommendations for fish consumption are 2 times a week. So maybe swap out some fish stuff in there or whatever. And a lot of your fish, like scallops and things like that, tend to cook faster, so they're easy week time prep. Again, animal meat should be considered the side, not the featured part of the entree. Okay? So, here it is. This is what it should look like. Pretty easy, right? Everybody knows this. So why can't we do it? Why do we struggle so much? Why is it so hard? Well, consider the various forms of foods we eat. It's hard to visualize what this is when I'm having a hamburger, right? I'm not thinking about my starch right here, because my starch is here. And I'm not thinking about my meat right here, because my meat is here. And where are my vegetables? Well, they're stacked up there too, and is that enough? Like, it's hard to change that. What if I'm eating a casserole? How do I figure out where I am with that? It can be challenging. Understanding portions can be challenging. So I have provided portions for you. I'm not going to read through them. You have them in the slides. But when we think about, oh, I should have 2 to 4 portions of fruits and vegetables with my dinner, is the lettuce and tomato on my burger enough? Well, is that a cup of raw or 2 cups of leafy? How much lettuce are you putting on your burger? That's a leafy burger, okay? That's probably not enough. You should probably have a side salad with it or something else. So having a better understanding of what I'm dealing with as a portion size helps, okay? Should you meal prep? Well, that depends on the person. Think about your time restrictions. If you're somebody who's going to come home and get home at 8 o'clock at night and be like, there's no way I'm cooking, yeah, meal prepping is probably a good idea for you. If you're somebody who doesn't want to worry about planning lunch or going to get lunch or whatever and you just want to take something that's already done, yeah, that's probably a good idea for you. But you also need to think about your palate. Are you okay eating the same dinner 3 nights in a row? You also want to think about food safety, right? I've had a lot of clients that they're like, look, I meal prepped for the whole week. I don't want to eat chicken that was cooked 5 days ago. I certainly don't want to eat shrimp that was cooked 5 days ago. So think about how many days you're going to meal prep for, and what am I going to do the rest of the week? Do I have time on Wednesday night to meal prep for Thursday and Friday? Or am I going to eat out Thursday, Friday? What am I going to do? So think about your time restrictions and think about food safety.
What about the freezing?
You can freeze it, but you also want to think about how well will that food stand up to freezing. You know, because like a lot of pastas, when they defrost, they're not good. It doesn't come out well. And a lot of seafood is that way too. Like if I freeze some, you know, cod or whatever, if it's not flash frozen, it tends to allow that moisture to kind of build up and freeze as well. And so then when you defrost it, it's kind of, so thinking about what stands up to freezing versus what doesn't. But yes, freezing is absolutely an option that would get it to where you could keep it through the week. Okay? So again, this is something that is really personal to you. Not everyone is going to win with meal prepping. Some people will swear by it. Your diet is personal. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. And so you need to be thinking about you, your lifestyle, your palate, etc. What do you do when life gets in the way? So set up some pre-established defaults. Again, one of the things I always keep stocked at my house are those broccoli stuffed chicken breasts, right? Because all I have to do is open a package, put it on a cookie sheet, put it in the oven, and half an hour later, I have a really good protein, and I microwave my veggies, and that's dinner. And we're done. And my kids love it, and my husband loves it, and everybody's happy, and I didn't have to do anything. That's a really good default for us. So establishing some of these healthy defaults that you have stored and ready to fire at any moment's notice. Having frozen dinners on hand is also a really good idea. I have a lot of clients that they're like, you know what, I just do lean cuisines for lunch. They're easy, I keep them in my freezer at work, I don't have to think about planning my meal or anything. Great, there are a lot of really good brands of frozen dinners out there. Most of the lean cuisines have gone completely preservative-free. They have significantly reduced their sodium intake. Healthy Choice is a really good brand that has a lot of really good, and especially if like sustainability or something is your thing, they've got these bowls that are all these ancient grains and like kale and super healthy, you know, sweet potatoes, etc. And the bowls are 100% biodegradable, so I'm not using one of those plastic things that is ruining the environment or whatever. There's lots of good options out there. Amy's has really good quality ingredients. That's an easy way to stay in your calorie goal and not have to think about it. And it's just not something that you can say, this is my permanent diet plan, because you're going to have other things that get in the way. You still need to know how to plan your meals outside of doing that. But that's a good default. Instead of fast food, consider calling in kids' meals. So like Chili's, Applebee's, all of those major chain places have like a $5 kids grilled chicken and vegetables. Or I'll do the grilled chicken and their rice, and then I'll make some broccoli when we get home. And it's like $5. It's less than what I would pay at anywhere fast food. They do the car side to go. They will bring it to you like a fast food place. I don't even have to get out of my car. I can pay for it online. So go ahead and have those types of restaurants programmed in your phone, so that if you're like, I'm running late, and your spouse is like, I'm running late, and it's like, ugh, what are we going to do? I'm swinging into wherever restaurant, and I'm going to go ahead and call in the order from my phone. And that way, it's easy, ready to go, and that's an easy way to stay calorie controlled without spending a lot of money and going outside into the fast food world. And again, have an oven-ready option that requires no prep, that fits within what you need for your diet. When you are family meal planning, if you have children, think about the ages of your children, the palates of your children, understanding that children require 12 to 18 exposures to a food before we truly identify if they like it or don't. So if you're like, I offered them sweet potatoes and they did not like them, did you offer it 12 times? Did you offer it as sweet potato fries and mashed sweet potatoes and baked sweet potato with cinnamon on top? Did you offer it in a variety of ways? Children are picky but adventurous, okay? So make sure you're giving them enough. Make sure you are considering the timing of when you eat. Do you have a high schooler that's not going to get home from band practice till 9 o'clock at night? How is my meal that I'm planning going to stand up for them? And is it going to be something that they can eat as well? Having to cook for several different people and several different palates makes cooking a very discouraging thing. So try to find neutral things that appease everybody that's getting them. When you're overly accommodating, it definitely decreases the amount of healthy eating you're going to do. So don't do that. If you're meal prepping for 1 to 2 people, one of the biggest challenges I get from single people or empty nesters is we have all these leftovers. Well, there's cookbooks meant to give you portion sizes for 1 to 2 people. There are protein things where they're now individually selling like chicken breast that's already wrapped one, instead of you have to get that whole thing and then there's all these leftover chickens that we're not eating and they're going bad or whatever. So try to think about what is out there that's designed for you. HEB does a lot of those individual meals that are already done, like the salmon with the green beans and those whatever. Getting some of those things might be helpful for you. So instead of having to cook, you're still getting nutritious food. It's not blowing your budget because you're not having to go out to a restaurant for it, but it doesn't leave a whole bunch of leftovers for you, and so that can be a really good option. Think about cold foods with easy prep, salads, sandwiches, etc. Those tend to be really easy things that single people or just 2 people like to kind of default to. Again, look for individually portioned ingredients. If you are eating out, ask for the to-go box before the food is delivered. If I get my meal and I start eating and I have the intent to eat half of it, and then I get to half and I say, excuse me, waiter, may I get a to-go box? And other people are still eating, right? How urgent is the waiter to get you that to-go box? There's not a big sense of urgency there. So then you're just sitting there and it's like, have another little bite. And the next thing you know, by the time the box arrives, you've eaten half of the half, and it's like, well, what's the point of taking home a quarter of whatever it is I brought, because that's going to be a snack, not a meal. I'll just finish it. If I ask for it before the food comes, the minute the food comes, I can shovel off half of my food, put it away in a box or whatever, out of sight, out of mind, and I will actually have those leftovers the next day. So being prepared. Research where you're going ahead of time. Look at the calories. Look at the sodium. Look at the fat content. Everybody's got their nutrition facts on the web, right? If it's more than a mom and pop chain, okay? Identify, okay, when I get there, I can get shrimp fajitas, I could get the salmon, or I could get this margarita chicken thing that they have that looks good. All of these fit in my calorie, fat, whatever restrictions. Make sure you give yourself options, because sometimes when you get there, you don't feel like what you had originally picked out. Same thing with fast food. I have so many people. I have one guy, right? So he comes in, he's like, you'd be so proud of me. I got the something, biscuit something, instead of the apple pie, which is what I really wanted when I drove through Whataburger this morning. And I'm like, well, the something, biscuit something that you got is 700 calories. The apple pie is 200. For a weight loss perspective, not a general health, you got more protein and stuff like that, but for weight loss, I actually would have preferred you got the apple pie. And he's like, what? I could have had the apple pie instead? And I'm like, I'm just saying, if you'd have looked at the ingredients and the nutrition facts, you would have known if I'm supposed to keep breakfast under 300, these are the things that are under 300. I can pick the more nutritious one, or I can splurge a little and have an apple pie. Whatever, it's all about moderation, right? So look ahead. Avoid deep-fried things. Deep-fried things are always going to get you in trouble with calories. Avoid things that are masked as deep-fried with different terminology, like tempura. Tempura is just fancy fried. It is still deep-fried. Don't go there. Avoid anything in a creamy sauce, buttery sauce. Avoid things on a menu that very clearly are probably not the healthiest. For example, Chili's has a quesadilla explosion salad. Just because the word salad is in there, you missed the first two keywords that were pretty good indicators. This is not something that it should be in my diet on a regular basis. Okay? There's myth out there that eating healthy is expensive. Rao et al. From Harvard did a study that showed a healthiest diet on average $1.50 a day over the unhealthiest diets. These were diets rich in fruit, veggies, nuts, fish, and oils. $1.50 a day is not budget breaking for most people. Most of your healthy diets, you can feed a family of 4 for under $10, include fresh vegetables, include fresh fruits, include lean proteins, and be really healthy for under $10. That beats the snot out of any fast food dollar menu that you're going to go to. Okay? Less expensive modifications can be made to improve nutritional quality without impacting your budget. So, for example, adding beans. Beans are a really inexpensive food. Beans are loaded with nutrition. They've got protein, they've got fiber, they've got all kinds of vitamins and minerals. That's a really easy way to jam-pack a lot of nutrition into whatever it is you're eating. Brown rice is also an inexpensive, high-nutrition food. Potatoes are really rich in vitamins and minerals, and they're really inexpensive. Again, getting more frozen vegetables so you're not wasting the vegetables if you don't eat them all. That's a really easy way to jam in a whole bunch of extra nutrition. So you don't always have to buy organic kale from South Indonesia to be getting the most nutritional value. A lot of what you get can come right up the street from Idaho. Get a potato. Lots of nutrition there, okay? You want to plan your meals around your fresh fruits and vegetables that are in season. This will save you a lot of money. You want to bulk your meals with inexpensive starches. So again, rice, pasta, beans, etc. You want to buy your frozen vegetables, and you want to bulk purchase your protein when it's on sale. So when ground beef is $3 a pound, get a whole bunch and put it in your freezer.
How long does meat last in the freezer?
I want to say most of them are around 6 months.
Even fish and...
I think there is a food safety app from the USDA, which I think is actually just called Food Safety, that tells you, you can look up any protein, how long it's good in the freezer, how long it's good in the fridge, what temperature it has to be cooked to make sure all the bacteria are killed. It has all that good information in there. So that's one that I always keep on hand because I get confused sometimes too. I'm like, I think this chicken might be time to throw it out. Food safety, I think it's a USDA app. Okay? Some health food myths. I should always buy organic. It's the best quality and the most nutritious. I think that we have gotten that message across loud and clear. That is not always the case. What do we recommend you buy if you're going to put your money into organics? Protein. Get your organic protein, okay? If you're going to really put your money into it, get the grass-fed beef, get the organic chicken, get the whatever. Fruits and vegetables, just wash them. Or go to your farmer's market and buy local, okay? Fresh fruits and vegetables are the only way to get good nutrition? No, if you want to take frozen fruit and put it in a smoothie, you're getting just as much of the nutrients that you would have if you bought it fresh. Fresh fruits and vegetables are picked and then flash frozen, which locks in all the nutrients. So broccoli in a bag is just as nutritionally equivalent to fresh broccoli that's sitting out on the shelf. So you don't have to always get it fresh, because a lot of times the reason people don't buy fresh is they forget about it, and then it goes bad, and it's like, well, that was a waste of money. I saw a meme one time that made me laugh, and it said, I spend approximately $88.92 a year watching bananas go bad. I'm like, yeah, I can attest to that one. I can't tell you how many bananas I throw away. Only chicken and fish are the healthy proteins. No, there's even a lot of red meat proteins out there that are really healthy. Bison is great. Deer is great. Venison. You can do a lot of really good, lean, healthy proteins that don't promote cardiovascular disease that are not just chicken and fish. Turkey, etc. Go there. To be really healthy, I need to make everything from scratch and eliminate all packaged foods. No. Again, like, I don't soak my beans and make my own beans. I buy canned beans. I just rinse them to get rid of that extra sodium. There are plenty of packaged foods that, yeah, they've got a little more sodium in them, but they're still super healthy and they're an easy default for me. For example, I do the quinoa rice blend that is a red basil and whatever, and I add ground turkey and some salsa to it and black beans. It is a super high fiber, super high protein, delicious meal that my kids love, and I can make it in under 20 minutes. So it is another one of our easy defaults, and yes, it uses 3 shelf-stable products, but they're all good for you, okay? A little bit higher in salt than I would like, but I don't eat a general high-sodium diet. Frozen foods are highly processed and not nutritious. Again, the frozen food section, if you haven't been down it lately, man, they've got a lot of really good products out there. The Evol ones are really good. Again, the Amy's, there's just so many that they're coming out with that are really healthy, nutritious, and good. They're not gross tasting. So, additional tips for healthier eating. Grocery shop at least once a week. If you have a big family, you may need to go twice a week, especially if you love produce. I go to the grocery store 2 to 3 times a week, but of course I've got 4 munchkins that eat the snot out of all my fruits and vegetables. So that's awesome, but it means I need to constantly be replenishing, okay? Make sure that you store leftovers in transparent Tupperwares. If you cannot see what's in the Tupperware, you are less likely to consume it. So make sure you can see it. It's on a stable shelf that is at eye level preferred so that I will actually finish my leftovers. Same thing with my fruits and vegetables. If I'm prepping them ahead of time, do not put them in opaque containers. You won't eat them. Don't put them in the shelves if you don't think you're going to be going into the drawers to get them. Put them on the shelf where you can see it, okay? Try to avoid adding salt while cooking, so either choose to add while you're cooking or on the table, but not both. If you can do neither, even better. Store fresh fruit, again, in highly visible places. That's why fruit bowls are a really great idea, because you see that and you're like, oh, an apple, great. And you're just going to pick it up and start snacking versus you go to the fridge, you're doing the fridge sway, what do I want, what do I want? You don't see the apples in the drawer, so you opt for whatever instead, okay? And wash and prep all your fruits and veggies the day you buy them, because it makes it more likely that you will actually eat them. Here are some helpful resources for you that have good nutrition advice. So if you're wondering about, what's this apple cider vinegar thing? Don't go to mamasfoodery.com or Fit Chick Nutrition Girl or whatever. Go to a good resource that actually knows science and what they're talking about. And these are all really good resources. The USDA database has every food you can imagine. Its calorie content, it's all its macros, its vitamin and mineral content, etc. So if you're wondering, I wonder if kumquats are a good source of folic acid. I don't know. Go look it up. Go there, you just put in kumquats and it'll bring it up and be like, there are 3 micrograms of folic acid in a kumquat. Oh, that's a great thing. I'm going to go ahead and eat that and be more richer by folic acid. Whatever. So you can find all that good nutritional information there. MyFitnessPal, especially for little local places here in Austin, does a pretty good job of giving you calorie content. They're not very good at the macros. So don't trust them necessarily for grams of fat, carbohydrate, etc. But if I want to know how much the president at Torchy's Taco has, I can look it up there, and it's usually pretty spot on, or if not, really close to the ballpark. So that's a good place to kind of keep track of stuff as well. And using a tracking thing like MyFitnessPal is a great way to get started on eating better. Because you can reflect on what you've been eating. You would not believe how many people underestimate or overestimate their fruit and veggie intake. They're like, yeah, I eat fruits and vegetables all the time. Log your food for a week and then go back and count how many days you actually hit 4 or 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. Because eating a vegetable at dinner every night does not necessarily mean you're hitting that minimum. Okay? We made it. In under time. Woohoo! Yes, ma'am.
Question, you said 2 servings a day of seafood recommended a week, or high seafood diet, but most of it, is that bad?
No, absolutely not. Mediterranean-style eating is super nutritious. The only thing we get concerned about is if you're eating a lot of fish, there is new evidence that we are getting plastic microfibers into the flesh of the fish because we are polluting our oceans so much with plastic. So you may actually be ingesting a lot of plastic yourself if you're eating like 5-6 servings of fish. Not necessarily in your shellfish and stuff like that. So actual fish that's flaky or whatever, they did some dissections and found there's plastic fibers there. So no, not in the farm raised. It'll be in the ocean caught.
Looks like that.
Fresh caught fish. Other questions?
What's this craze with the pink Himalayan salt? How is that better or?
Not. It's the same thing like sea salt is better than table salt. It's all salt. Salt comes from the same place. It's just bigger crystals versus smaller crystals. You're not going to get added iodine to sea salt, so we've been seeing an increase in goiters and thyroid problems because we put iodine in our salt to help with that. And now that everybody's switching to sea salt, we're seeing a lot of iodine deficiency, which is what causes the thyroid, goiter enlargement, et cetera. So there is a little bit extra nutrition from the pink. Whatever is causing the pink has a little bit of the vitamin, some mineral in it that, it's not vitamin A, but it's some vitamin that is good, but you probably get that from your food anyway. So yeah, there's nothing special to it.
What about kosher salt?
Just in how it's handled. Yep. So it's kind of like a kosher chicken versus a regular chicken. It's how it's handled, how it's stored.
It's like kosher salt.
Yeah, that's just a generic use of salt.
Because of the size of the grain, recipe wants a thicker salt, use kosher salt.
Yeah, and sea salt will provide that thicker grain as well. So, yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Do you have a good app for macros?
Not really. No. You can, so MyFitnessPal gets you in the ballpark. If you look at like your pie chart and you know you want about half of it to be carbs and about a third or a quarter to be fat and protein, it's pretty okay. I had a run-in where my fat kept showing up really high and I was like, I don't eat a high-fat diet. This is so weird. And it turns out the banana I was logging for breakfast every day, somebody had put that it had like 27 grams of fat in it. And I was like, oh, no. So I had to find a different banana to log every day, and that put my numbers back. So it's okay. Most people don't need to be super concerned about being exact with their macros. It's more the calorie content that I'm concerned about. Diabetics, I'm more concerned about like carb and protein intake, so they may not get as much benefit from the app, but it's, again, in the ballpark for the most part.
Where did you get the stuffed chicken breast that you said that you...
So the broccoli stuffed ones are usually in the 2-pack. You can get them at most grocery stores, and they're in the frozen section. But the big packs, I've only been able to find at Sam's, and we are now Costcoers, so I've been having to do the ham stuffed one because that's the one, the cordon bleu. Right. That's the one they offer, but it's like 220 calories, and they're delicious. And it's super easy and convenient, and I can get a 6-pack, so everybody in the family gets one for $12. And then I steam some broccoli, and we're done. So, but yeah, the chicken and the cordon bleu, there's even a Kiev. I don't recommend that one because it's filled with butter. But usually you can get 2 packs of those in the frozen food section at your local grocery store. They're so good. Any other questions? All right, I'll turn it over to you for your drawings.
Everybody give Dr. Coon a big... Right, okay, thank you for that practical advice. And just to mention, again, this handout here came from the Center for Science and the Public Interest. It's one of my favorites for sure, and eatright.org is one I go to as well.
And the Center for the Science and the Public Interest, if you subscribe to their Facebook stuff, they send lots of really good, just quick reads on what's happening in nutrition and good ideas for, like I reposted one of theirs recently that was like, it's pumpkin season. How can you incorporate pumpkin besides this? And it provided a bunch of like pumpkin recipes and how do you cook pumpkin and da-da-da-da-da. So they just have good little tidbits like that all the time that I like to see popping up in my feed to,
Yeah.
you know.
Good. It's hard to find, to know what's good, scientific-based, reliable sources on the internet for food.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate you helping us identify those. Okay, we're gonna do
Drawing?
drawings. The first one will be for the lunch bag.
Woo, okay. Last 4 digits is 2404.
Yay, winner!
2404.
Thank you. And the next one is for the little booklet, Recipes for Healthy Eating.
Recipe book, 2405.
Uh-oh. I think you mixed it up.
I promise. Here, we'll have somebody else draw it. I promise I'm mixing them.
The popular farmer's market.
24, I know, right? 19. I know, like, we're not even verified. All right, come this way, come this way, so far, right?
Just a couple things real quick. Don't forget, we do Road to Wellness, so if you're interested in getting wellness tips, like once a month, you can go to the wellness website.
I want the book. I want that book. Slow cooker.
Oh, yeah.
We have monthly webinars.
I love slow
Check
cook.
that out.
Yeah.
You make life easier if you can remember to put the ingredients in before you go to work. I've many times failed on that.
Yeah.
2427.
I was close.
Oh, great.
I was close.
And the last one.
I actually like that water bottle. I bet too.
Is the slow cooker, the healthy slow cooker cookbook. This is the weather.
No, I think not.
2421.
Hey,
I
finally won something.
Thank you, guys.
I was close.
We'd love to get your feedback and ideas.
You can borrow it.
Yeah, and please look into the farmhouse delivery program. It is really, really good produce. Some people in here actually do it, so.
Oh, that's good. It has to stick. Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, so it talks about like
Oh, wow.
therapy and like speaking and all that kind of stuff.
Send money.
But,
I will come back in January.
take insurance. So the pricing on there, if you don't have an insurance, or if you don't have qualifying conditions.